Welcome everyone, I'm Dale and this is Cinema Historia. An American fighter pilot, a South Korean invasion, and several hundred abandoned orphans. This week we're going back to 1957 for a biographical American war film called Battle Hymn, starring Rock Hudson, Anna Kashfi, Dan Duryea, and Martha Heyer. And this is directed by Douglas Sirk. So, where does our story begin this week? Well, our story begins in West Hampton, Ohio. It is the summer of 1950, 1 month after the invasion of South Korea. Dean Hess, played by Rock Hudson, an ex-pilot from World War II, has been suffering a crisis of conscience after accidentally dropping a bomb on an orphanage and killing 37 children. Since the overwhelming guilt, Dean, with the support of his wife Mary, played by Martha Heyer, has been a minister for the last 2 years. With unending guilt and feeling he's not cut out to be a minister, Dean volunteers to return to the cockpit, leaving his pregnant wife behind in Ohio. He promises her he won't see combat since he will be the senior USAF advisor instructor pilot to the Republic of South Korea Air Force, serving as a teacher for flying their F-51D Mustangs. During South Korean pilot training, Dean and the other USAF instructors continually are overrun with orphan Korean refugees searching for food. Hess, with the help of Sergeant Herman, played by Dan Duryea, takes pity on the children and orders them to be fed. Soon after, with now over 400 children, Hess, with the aid of 2 Korean adults, and Soo Yang, played by Anna Kashfi, and Lun Hwa, establishes a shelter for the orphans in an abandoned Buddhist temple. Meanwhile, North Korean forces are drawing near to their training facility, and Hess receives orders for everyone to abandon the base. Saying farewell to En Soo Yang, he learns that the North Koreans are on the verge of capturing the city, and the area around the orphanage has been abandoned to them. So, does Colonel Dean Hess and his crew change from training to assigned combat? Do the North Koreans capture their city, or does a dangerous rescue save over 400 orphans? Based on Lieutenant Colonel Dean Hess's 1956 autobiography, Battle Hymn, published in 1956. The real Dean Hess was a technical advisor to Universal to ensure that the final production did not stray far from his original biography. A 1957 Golden Globe winner for Best Filming Promoting International Understanding, and a Box Office Blue Ribbon Award winner in 1957 for Best Picture of the Month for the Whole Family for director Douglas Sirk. A great accomplishment considering Douglas Sirk broke his ankle while shooting a scene in March of 1956. And our trivia question this week: did anyone portray themselves in this motion picture? Did anyone portray themselves in this motion picture? So, a little more history and the answer to our trivia question coming up next. This week for history, we're going to talk more about Colonel Dean Hess. Now, there are a lot of differences between my biography and the film. So, Dean Hess was an American minister and United States Air Force Lieutenant Colonel. Born Dean Elmer Hess in Marietta, Ohio in 1917, he attended Marietta College, a graduate of the class of 1941. Following this, he was ordained as a pastor in the Disciples of Christ Church at Cleveland, Ohio. Following the December 7th attack on Pearl Harbor, Hess enlisted in the United States Army Air Forces. He served as a combat pilot in France after the Normandy landings and flew a total of 63 combat missions in Thunderbolt P-47s. Briefly returning to civilian life, however, Hess was recalled to active service in July of 1948. In 1950, he was transferred to Korea at the outbreak of the Korean War as the commander of Boot 1 Project, training South Korean pilots in flying the P-51D Mustang. Hess served in Korea until June, at which he had flown 250 combat missions. With an airfield overrun with abandoned orphans, Hess sent the orphans to an orphanage in Seoul. When the North Korean forces began to capture the city, Hess organized 15 C-54 Skymaster aircraft to airlift the orphans to safety on Jeju Island. This so-called kiddie car airlift rescued 950 orphans and 80 orphanage staff from the path of the Chinese advance during the Korean War on December 20th, 1950. Dean Hess published his autobiography in 1956 and retired from the Air Force in 1969. For his actions in Korea, he was awarded the Republic of Korea Honor and the Korean Order of Cultural Merit. With numerous other awards, he was inducted into the Miami Valley Walk of Fame, and his actions are also the subject of an exhibit at the National Museum of U.S. Air Force. The film Battle Hymn is one of the most well-known American films about the Korean War. In South Korea, Hess is known as the father of the Korean War orphans, and the film is aired annually during Memorial Day. And if you're wondering what's beside me, this is a Canadian award from the Korean War from 1951 called the Battle Honors Award. And a quick quote, "Cited for extraordinary heroism and outstanding performance of combat duties under extreme difficulty and hazardous conditions, their achievements have brought distinguished credit on themselves, their homelands, and all freedom-loving nations." Pretty cool. And the answer to our trivia question this week: did anyone portray themselves in this motion picture? Yes, and to explain, Dean Hess donated his profits from the film and the book to a network of orphanages he helped to establish. Thus, the children from the Orphans' Home of Korea portrayed themselves in this motion picture. Just amazing. Hope everyone enjoyed this video, and remember, click like and subscribe and enjoy more dancers, singers, comedians, cowboys, villains, and heroes like Dean Hess. I'm Dale, and this has been Cinema Historia. Thanks for watching, everyone.